7 things I came up with that would be tips to think about when you're taking a new product to market. So the first one for me is always, you got to keep it simple. If an average person can't understand what you're describing or the problem you solve or what it means to them in the first few seconds, you need to go back to the drawing board.
Isn't that where you fire the marketing department? Because no one understands.
I think that's part of it. But for your salespeople, and look, whenever you're taking a product to market, I would say if you are a co-founder or you run a sales organization, you want to be as close to that process as possible. You want to be doing it yourself. You want to listen to what customers are saying directly before you try to scale this out to a sales team. So you just want to talk to as many people as possible and get their feedback, understand what's landing, what's not landing. But you got to keep it simple. One of the companies I tried to start with a guy, we sat down at a booth and I had this like perfect customer candidate lined up, and I let him go to town talking about what it is. I didn't even know what he was talking about. Like, it was so technical and just got so up into the weeds of the features and of the features of the product, the benefits just got washed out. And I think often we get into that point. We've developed all this time and effort on a product, and it's differentiated in some way or the other, and we get caught up in the product features and forget about the benefits. And I even see new salespeople that come to Pendo because it does all this stuff. They forget about the benefits, the outcome, the pain they're addressing, and they fall back on its analytics and it's retroactive and all this other stuff. That's not what the customer needs to hear. They need to hear about the benefits, the outcomes, how you're going to help them get there. So keep it simple. The other thing I'll say on that is just people are visual. So if you have the ability to show them pictures to help illustrate how this works, that's a good thing too. Sometimes it helps. Second thing, skeptical people need proof. So social proof, you've got to find a way through a reference customer or some other way to get proof that this worked for Mr. Customer. I had another customer who had the very same problems talking about this, and this they had challenges with. Guess what? We implemented this, and in 6 months after we worked with them to get here, look at the results they saw. We can do the same thing for you. So you've got to have proof points that it's working for other people. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. They'll stay skeptical. They'll say, go sell it to somebody else, then come back to me when you have some proof. So find a way. Reference customers are a great way to do that. You've got to find people willing to talk on your behalf. And don't feel like you have to always give it away for free. You want the people to have skin in the game. So maybe it's a paid pilot, but you want them to have some vested interest in working with you to see it through. Otherwise, they're going to check out, and you're not going to have them pull it with you. Okay. And one of the things you can get in order for giving them a great deal is a case study. They have to commit to doing a case study at month 6 or at month 3 or something like that. So if you have a give, make sure you're getting a get back in that relationship. Target market. Make sure you're talking to the right people. Like, a perfect example comes to my mind. When the pandemic came and hit Pendo, we worked across all verticals. Well, guess what? When I'm targeting, those first 2 quarters after COVID came around, I'm not going after the hospitality or restaurant business. I'm not going after, the clothing industry. I'm going after healthcare. I'm going after ed tech, finance, all these companies and these verticals that really started to flourish during that period. So just be cognizant of who you're going after, especially given the times that are out there, okay? When you do go after a certain industry, make sure you're speaking their language. If you're talking to somebody in ed tech, it's not about their users and their customers, it's about students, it's about administrators, it's about teachers. So don't sound tone deaf when you're talking to somebody who's a prospect of your business. Think about the industry and what's going on in their space, okay? The other thing is when you're thinking about who to reach out, we use LinkedIn all the time, right? To try to figure out who I need to reach out to get somebody to talk to me in this company. Well, you can tell a lot from a LinkedIn profile. And at Pendo, for instance, I'm looking for people that if I can find a chief product officer or a new VP of product that landed somewhere in the last 60 days, guess what? They were brought in to solve a problem. And they have some leeway to go in and put some new tools and processes in place to try to make change. So if I can get in touch with them, figure out what they're trying to align to within the company and be part of that solution, there's a good chance I can attach to that, right? Same thing with the people, individuals you reach out to. If you see that they are very active on social media, and they really care about product-led growth. It's something that aligns with Pendo. Well, that's who I want to lean into. People who want to be voices of their industry. Those are the people that are willing to take a chance and do something new.
Can you explain that role? We've all heard of project managers, but not many people, that's a new title. So can you define what a product manager does?
Well, look, depending on the product you're selling, you're going to have a certain persona you're selling into. Pendo is unique because we sell into the product organization, where you have people that are responsible for developing and managing the product releases and building the products to sell. Most of the time, the product industry doesn't have a lot of budget, so we have to kind of navigate through that into the IT or marketing and attached to other stakeholders. But just understand who the buyer is and what organization within your target company is going to be spending the money, and do they have, what type of budgets do they look like, and what are the key initiatives. And I'll talk about the key initiatives in a minute here. This is the most important thing. No matter what you're selling, especially with new products, you've got to do a good job with discovery. You have to understand what are the key North Star things that this company wants to accomplish in the next 6 months and the next 18 months. You've got to figure that out. What does the executive team care about? What does the board care about? If you can figure out what those top 3 or 5 things are and find a way to attach your product and the outcome they can deliver to one of those initiatives, that is how you're going to win. But all too often, salespeople, all of us do it, we get happy years somewhere, we're talking to some lower level person in the company, and they have a key goal they want to create and accomplish this quarter or something, but it's not attached to that key North Star for the company. You've got to do that, because guess who's going to sign the contract at the end of the day? It's going to the CFO, the CEO, and if they don't understand how this aligns to what they're trying to accomplish, you're not going to get money out of them in any repeatable fashion. So you've got to do a good job of discovery. Ask them, your last all hands meeting, what did the CEO talk about? What are the key initiatives that you're really focused on? Especially, every company in the world is redoing their second half budget right now. It's different than it was 6 months ago. Understand what that is and find a way to attach to it. I'll give you another example of what I'm doing right now. Is I'm thinking about, look, people come to Pendo for 1 or 2 reasons. Either they're flying blind and they just need to understand the user journey, or they have new users coming to their platform and they need to scale onboarding. They can't hire a bunch of CS people to walk everybody through, or maybe they're going global. They need new people to be able to come through and just get an easy tutorial once they land in your app or in your site. Okay.
CS is customer success.
Customer success, yeah. So literally at my last company before Pendo, I had 9 customer success people dealing with frustrated people who had been in a queue for 30 minutes and they needed to walk through how to use what they just bought. Well, once we got Pendo in there, we literally got down to under 2 full-time employees because people were able to find their way through and get started without a human, and before they got frustrated. So onboarding new users is key for any product, especially a software product, and that's a problem we solve. So people come for analytics or for guided walkthroughs, onboarding. Well, in this day and age, guess what? Those top things people care about, 2 of the most unique use cases right now, is people need to deflect support tickets. Like, they have a whole team of customer success people, and maybe they've had to lay off 20% of their company, and they have to do less with more. But they don't want to lose, they can't churn their customers out. They need to keep that revenue, right? So how do they do that? They need to do less with more. What we can help them do is, instead of, here's our analytics and guidance package, here is our ticket support, deflection support package. It's like, this is designed just to help you take all the new customers that are coming through, or anybody that have problems with your software, and we can answer the questions and deflect those tickets before they become frustrated products. Would that help you? And that is the way it resonates right now. People are trying to solve very specific problems. And so if you can find a way to package it and speak to what people care about right now in this economic time, that is going to be a really compelling, powerful way to get their attention. Okay? Let's see, so down to number 7. I would just say that the last thing is, look, selling a new product requires additional effort and focus. Like, you need a new level of grit for a period of time just to invest in understanding what the feedback is coming. And like I said, I would encourage you to do this yourself. if you if you own the company or you're a vested interest in the company, get close to that customer and that prospect as possible. Understand what are their key things they're trying to accomplish. Even before you're pitching your product all day long, tell me about how this economic climate's affected you. And the way I teach my sales team to do it is it's kind of an awkward conversation asking how your business is doing. So we say, look, Pendo right now is re-looking at everything. You know, we've hired up to 1,000 people, but we're slowing that down until we understand the economic impacts. And it's really hard to get new software into the company for here. So how are you guys feeling and how are you dealing with it? And what are you hearing from your executive team as the key priorities right now? And so if you can talk about yourself and acknowledge this whole world is freaking out a little bit, but then what are you hearing? And if they're telling you, I don't hear anything, it sounds rosy here, well, that's not the person you need to do business with because they're not in the know. You need to get to somebody who can talk to you about how they're evolving their business. Okay. So just a quick recap of the things. Keep it simple, right? You can't understand. Average person can't understand it. You're never going to go anywhere. Even if they smile and say that's cool, if they can't go explain it to somebody else and convince them they need to have a meeting with you again, it's not going to happen.
I've heard it as explain it to your grandmother. And if your grandmother understands it, we're on the right track. But the eyes glaze over, then you need to simplify it a few multiples down.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Because what's going to happen if you're talking to even a CEO of a company, they're going to have to either put their name on the line or explain it to somebody else. And if they can't do that confidently and not only explain it, but also tie it back to their North Star, you need to explain it and tie it back to something they care about. Those are the key things. Social proof, find a way to get other people talking about how it's working for them, okay? You've got to solve the problem. Your solution cannot be fall into nice to have camp right now. It needs to solve the problem, okay? So you always hear, we created the best solution that's looking for a problem. That's hard right now. You really need to tie into something that matters and it's going to help them reach that North Star for their company. Anchor to that key initiative, like I said. And then, look, here's the last thing I'll mention is just whenever you're selling someone something that requires some implementation, the hardest thing that's going on in the back of their mind is, do they, one, believe that your solution can do it, can help them, but the next thing is, how the hell am I going to implement that with the people I have here or don't have here and actually get to the value? So maybe I believe you, but I'm just not convinced that we have the right people to ever get it implemented to value. If you can't get past that hurdle, then you're going to be stuck as well. And so what we do is we require a professional services package on everything I sell at Pendo. So it's going to be between $1,000 and $20,000 worth of professionals to help guide you over the first 4 to 6 weeks in getting the setup, get your use cases implemented, and make sure you're on the path to value and your team understands how to use it, or we're not going to even sell you this package. So we just make it required. People try to get rid of it all the time. We never get rid of it. It's required. And so think about requiring some onboarding solutions. But you've got to work backwards. How am I going to get to that value outcome I'm promising you if you just laid off 20% of your people and you're busy and you don't know how you're going to get there? You're going to have to find a way to lean in on those early customers to get them there. Okay? All right.